This week's sponsor, KR Couriers and Transport Limited, are best known as being a Northwest-based company who deliver newspapers and magazines for local news agents and superstores. You'll find all the information within the description. Please give them a follow. Thank you. Hello everybody, welcome to the Billy Moore podcast, and today's special guest is Colin Dynamo Dunne, former WBU
lightweight champion of the world.
Lightweight champion of the world. How are you, mate?
I'm alright, Bill. You know, I've recently relocated back up to Liverpool about 18 months ago. Been living in London for 30 years. 30 years in London. And loved the majority of the time I was down there, but towards the latter years it was getting my old landlady got ill, and it was basically just me looking after her towards the end. She passed away recently, end of July. And it's a sad loss, but it's she was going through a mental ability, Alzheimer's, whatever she had towards the end, and the last couple of years. So her health was in a really bad state. So yeah, it's a blessing that she's been taken. She's not with us no more. I mean, when she was in her prime, she was a force. And and I've got to mention Audrey Howard, because can't get choked up. I mean, if you look down all the Liverpool fighters that have ever gone to London, I think you'll find John Contney done okay. Yeah. But then there's so many Liverpool lads go to London and they come home.
They don't make it.
Some cases they're not good enough to make it or whatever. It's just, for me, I had Audrey Howard. She was my rock in London. When I got introduced to her in 1991 by my trainer, Colin Dunne, she just took me in her house and she just brought me in, took me under her wing, treated me like one of her sons, And it's because I had that, that enabled me to stay in London, and do what I've done,
Yeah.
So big shout out to Audrey, Enid, Lillian, Howard. Get choked up every time I say her name. Yeah, she's recently gone, and my trainer Colin Lake, bless him, he's in a home now. He's got some form of dementia. And I seen him on the 19th of December, and he was clean, he was presentable, and he'd put a little bit of weight on, as you would, because they're not doing nothing in them homes, and. He come out and he shook my hand and he called me Les. I said, it's Colin. It's Colin. I said, Colin the Dynamo Dunne. Yeah. And I think they're giving him the liquid cosh as well, though, because apparently he's been shadow boxing in front of the nurses and different things. But listen, he was losing it before he went in there, and that's the reason why they took him in there. So he's in a good enough place, But yeah, this year, last year's been quite sad, with losing my old landlady and then Lakey being taken into a home,
So it sounds like loads of loss going on recently then.
Yeah.
It's like the cycle of life. It creeps up.
Yeah.
Before you know it.
Funny enough, my ex-girlfriend, Tony, she sent me a voice message on WhatsApp yesterday. My little staffy that I had, he's just died a few days ago, but yeah, as you say, that's life, Bill.
It is, mate. It's a sad fact that we lose people.
Yeah. Well, I'm 51 now. I'm at that age, aren't I?
You're not really old, are you?
Well, funny enough, when I first went to London, my trainer, Colin Lake, he was about 50, 51, and the amount of funerals I went to with him, friends and different things, mates of his wives and what have you. And for him to take me, it was also a bit of like a promoting exercise.
Yeah.
Because, you know, back in my day, you didn't have Instagram and all that.
Yeah.
You had to go out. I mean, we used to go out on a Friday and Saturday. We used to go around all different pubs in Islington.
Yeah.
You know, and this is when I was pro, to be fair. But in the early days, he always took me with him to these funerals just to introduce me round all his old mates and all that. So it was, I mean, I didn't know the person that had died, do you know what I'm saying? But he took me just to get me face. And that's why, you know, he was from Holloway, Colin Lake, North Holloway, in Islington, in North London. And that's why he used to promote me as from Holloway and Liverpool, you know.
So what was life like growing up? Let's start from there. Liverpool.
Yeah, I thought about this. Yeah, my mum and dad are both Chinese. My mum... Townies.
Townies.
Yeah, you'll have to excuse my accent, Bill, because I've lived in London for 30 blinking years. Do you know what I mean?
It's Taiwanese then for a minute.
Because I've listened to a couple of your podcasts and the lads come across like real proper scouts, you know what I mean? Especially that dad, and he makes me laugh. Yeah. You need subtitles with some of the things he comes out with, you know? Kex and Grady and all that. But, yeah, I remember started out Breck Road, and then we moved to Freehold Street. Freehold Street off Prescott Road. Where, funny enough, the guy Jay Riley who put you in touch with me, he still lives in Freehold Street, Jay.
Yeah, big shout out to Jay. Thanks for that.
Yeah, thanks, Jay. I spoke to Jay the other day. I told him, you know, you'd been in touch and we were going to do it, and he was like, "Oh, brilliant, Col." And he sent me a text this morning. Bless him, you know what I mean. Yeah. Good luck today and all that. So started off Freehold Street, grew up till I was about, I don't know, 8, 9, 10, and then we moved to basically if you get one end of Nugent Park, Prescott Road, and you go through the park and you get to Shield Road, Nugent Park. Yeah. Where the flats used to be. Well, I was brought up in a house just along from there.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And how long was you there for? What was life like growing up as well?
Well, this is the thing, you know. I ain't got loads of memories of, you know, before the boxing. You know, although our family lucky stars, I wasn't picked up by some paedophile because I was a cute little kid and there was nothing of me. You know what I mean? My first amateur fight at age 11 was 4 stone 9. 4 stone bleeding, 30 kilograms. I think that's what I won the schoolboys, the North West counties, at 30 kilograms. I mean, 30, you can pick that up now, can't you? Yeah. 30 kilograms.
Well, you're not much older than me, Colin, so you must have been, like, you know, I must have been about 8, I'm 49 now. So...
You're 49?
Yeah, I'm 49 now, so...
So what, you 72, 73?
73.
73.
So you're about, what, 70? 1970? Yeah, so you're... You know, I was in the era of, like, the likes of Danny Peters. Remember Danny Peters?
Remember Danny Peters, yeah. Curly hair, Danny.
Yeah, Danny Peters. I'm going back... like, I'm remembering the Walls. The Wallies. Keith Clarence... From Speak, St Ambrose ABC.
I remember St Ambrose. You're talking about St Ambrose. It's called Naylor. Gemini now.
Yeah, it's called Gemini now.
And John Naylor, he had a brother called Georgie Naylor.
Yeah,
I remember that. He was a good little fighter, Georgie. Yeah, and John.
Yeah,
John's quite lanky, wasn't he?
Yeah, John was the soul kid.
Yeah, and Georgie was a little compact, solid little fighter. Yeah,
exactly. Chalk and cheese.
Yeah, I remember John. John. So he was your trainer, John.
Big John was our fella.
Oh, the older fella, yeah.
So he was my trainer, John, yeah.
But I've been thinking about since you rang me the other day, and I mean, and I remember, it was you talking to Jazz Dickens, and he said his trainer was Georgie Vaughan. What a guy Georgie Vaughan is. Yeah. He was my very first trainer, right? Not a lot of people know that. He was my very, very first trainer at the Bronte ABC. And
where was that, the Bronte?
I knew you were going to ask that. Yeah. It was at the back of the Bully. Back of the bull ring.
No.
Do you know the bull ring?
Yeah, I know the bull ring.
Yeah.
Never into the Bronte,
student. Yeah, well, whatever, it's got demolished years ago. I mean, originally I started at the Everton Red Triangle when, you know, it was like a derelict building, you know, on Everton Road there. It is Everton Road,
Was Paul King there then?
He was involved in it.
Yeah,
he was involved with Joe Cudden and all that. But I went there and I got bullied. I got bullied by this kid. He needed me in the nuts. One of my testicles turned black, you know. But never deterred me from going to the gym, you know. But a mate of mine, Peter Fawkes, when I was in junior school, my best mate was a lad called Peter Fawkes, and he turned out a good little fire, Peter. Thing is with Peter, when Peter boxed, he fought Lee Rimmer. Do you remember Lee Rimmer?
No.
He had a fight with Lee Rimmer. Lee Rimmer was from the Fairs ABC. He was a good fighter, Lee. Lee Rimmer, really tidy little boxer. And my mate Peter Fawkes fought him. I'm not sure if he won or not. But Peter, initially, when we were kids, he used to knock fuck out of me in the Bronte ABC. And you know who's the same as me? Alan Minter. Alan Minter used to get knocked the fuck out of, but it never stopped you from going.
Yeah.
When I look back, I was fucking obsessed. I've got two brothers and a sister. Obviously, my mum and dad. I didn't give a... I had little blinkers on. I've still got them on now. You know what I mean? In life, I don't notice things. When I'm focused on something.
Yeah.
And I was so focused. I'll never forget getting the seeing the Union Jack badge to win the schoolboys.
Yeah.
That was my focus. I was going to get that Union Jack badge, you know. And let's face it, you know, as a kid, the schoolboy championships, it's the world title, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can't get any higher.
Yeah.
You know. I won the schoolboys when I was 12 for the Bronte. And I started in the Everton Red. Yeah, getting back to what I said before. So my mate Peter Fawkes, his brother and that was going to the Bronte. So I think I must have been about 10. 11, around that age, before we went to senior school. And his brother had a mate was going to Bronte anyway. It was just a bus ride. So where I got to the end of Freehold Street, you jumped on the bus, it took you straight up to opposite TJ Hughes' there. I don't know what the name of that is. And you got off the bus and you just walked through the bull ring and there was the gym. And Georgie Vaughan was my first trainer. And loved George. Just had a lovely way about him.
Still going strong, Georgie, isn't he?
I know, apparently, yeah. I mean, there was a thing. I remember sparring Danny Vaughan down here, you know.
Yeah.
But Danny, he could mix it up, but you could see he didn't have that little, I don't know, call it the eye of the tiger, call it what you will, but you could see he was interested, which he is, and he's involved with it now, but he wasn't interested in the fighting. You could see that. I'm not sure if he had a few amateur fights down, I'm not sure. But anyway, I won the schoolboys, because you could only go as far as the North West Counties when you're 12. Yeah. So I won that. And then I remember George had left then. I don't know, whatever reason he left. And it stuck with me for years, that, you know. It's one of the reasons why I'm not involved with... Don't get me wrong, I'm going to be getting involved with a club. But I want to sort my shit out, where I've only just moved back up here. Yeah. Let me get myself settled. Once I'm settled... and I've got work, which I've got work, but I just need to get a little bit more settled. I've only been
get yourself grounded first,
yeah. That's the word, grounded. And then I'll get involved, because I don't want to be. Once you start with them kids, you don't want to be letting them down. No, you know. But don't get me wrong, George's leaving didn't deter me. But Johnny Murphy, bless him, lovely guy. He started training us, but he didn't have the knowledge that George had, you know, and he just didn't have the knowledge, and he didn't have that, I don't know, George had he enveloped you, and he just give you a nice, lovely feeling, you know, to train. So anyway, I ended up going back to Everton Red, and Harry Curry, the legend that is Harry Curry, trained me there, and he trained a few good fighters, Harry. You had the Lang brothers there, we had Chris Williams, we had Alan Levine was there, you know. Alan done well. Used to love watching Alan train, You could just literally, once I'd done my bed, I used to always look at Alan, watch him training and doing all this. He's done everything he'd done it perfect. Press-ups, sit-ups, everything he'd done it all in line, you know. So that was a bit of entertainment. But, yeah, so then, yeah, and then what happened was I just, I won the schoolboys North West Counties. Then I lost it the second year, and I lost in the final, to be fair, Derby Assembly Rooms. And I tell you who won it that year. My mum still got the programme. And Nassim Ahmed, I remember seeing Nassim Ahmed there, and he was bowing to everyone. He was a proper little character from a kid, you know.
Yeah.
And then I think I lost it the next year in the quarterfinals, but then I eventually got my Union Jack badge when I was 15, you know.
How did that feel?
Yeah. It's a funny thing, innit? You know, I think the second year I fought a guy called... It's really funny how you can remember the people that, you know, where you had wrong done by you.
Yeah.
It's true though, isn't it? Yeah. And a guy called Roy Tunge, and he must have been, honest to God, if you see the video, he's literally at least 2 foot taller than me. It's ridiculous. I mean, when at the end of the fight, he actually bends down to hug me. You know what I mean? Anyway, I still think I won the fight. And... but yeah, I lost. And but yeah, I got it when I was 15, and I won the junior ABAs the same year. There was a great fella, I can't think of his name now, but he said to me, he was part of the club, this guy, and he'll come to me in a minute because he's a cracking fella. And he said to me, he said, his fighter of the club, he said, he found out he was boxing you. He said, we haven't seen him again. And I'm thinking, I wasn't that good. Do you know what I mean? But I was, you know, they talk about, you know, training and all that. I was obsessed with training. Yeah. You know, you couldn't stop me. I mean, I would run from Bowler Street, Shield Road, on a Saturday morning to Sevy Park, run round Sevy Park and run back. It's about 6 miles. And I was only, 14, 15, 13, 14. And
yeah, we used to do the same. You know, like going from like Speak, the gym in the parade in Speak, and run all the way to the lighthouse and back. So that was about 5 miles as well. So
yeah, I mean,
I was obsessed with. I used to get up with them early hours in the morning.
Yeah, see, I never done that. What we used to do when we got to the gym, we used to get ready. We used to have a run. We used to run. You know where Everton Valley there, you know, it's a park now, isn't it?
Yeah.
It used to be flats, but it's all hilly. So we used to do a run there. It must have been about a 20, 25-minute run. And then we get in the gym, we do our free freeze, shadow boxing, bags, pads, you know, sparring, do a sparring. But the great thing with Harry Curry, bless him, he's still alive, Harry. He's a cracking fella. Big shout out to Harry Curry. He's a legend, in my mind anyway. What he done with us kids, what he said was, if there's any of us in the championships, I'll open the gym up. Right, so it should be open Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But most of the time, one of us was in the championships, whether it was Stephen Lang, Ian Lang, Alan Levine, me. So it was Monday to Friday, and Harry opened it up every night. It was brilliant. I fucking loved it, you know. And then Sunday mornings. So yeah, it was. That was my life, you know. Nothing else mattered to me. Just had to win that schoolboy championships. Done it when I was 15. But by the time I got to 16, I was just a slow maturer.
Yeah.
You know, I only weighed 6.5 stone when I left school. So there was no work in Liverpool in the 80s. You're talking 86, 87. There was no work. I had mates of mine leaving school doing a YTS scheme, catering.
I did. I done a YTS catering.
Did you do a catering? Yeah.
I done one in my YTS. It was a catering course on a ship called the John Sue in Boston, Lincolnshire.
I bet you couldn't even boil an egg at the time.
£27 a week. Plus you had to pay for your digs out of that as well.
How much was your digs?
I can't remember, mate. It was about a tenner or something like that. So you ain't taking much home, you know what I mean?
No.
£17 a week.
Yeah.
Fucking ridiculous. Didn't last long.
Yeah.
I got mixed up there.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. There was nothing in the 80s, was there? There was nothing there, was there?
No.
So my dad grew up in the Four Squares, I think, in town, in the tenements, and there was a guy there called Billy Noons. Now his son, also called Billy Noons, had gone into horse racing with a guy called Henry Candy. Billy had won the Stable Lads boxing, which I didn't think whether he won it or not. I mean, and you got to remember, Billy might have been 15 when he got there. You know, I can show you the picture on my phone. You know, about the size difference. I mean, you've got to be a mature man and weigh only 7 stone. I mean, that's not natural, is it?
No.
You know, even for a little whippet like me. I'll show you this picture of me and Billy, and you'll see he's a fully grown man, and I'm like a 17-year-old kid. And I don't know if I'll the picture, but you'll see the picture. It's interesting. So because of that, what my dad knew, my dad always loved to flutter himself. So he just said, "Why don't you go in racing, lad?" So I was like, "Yeah, whatever." So
as a jockey,
to try and become a jockey, yeah. What I didn't know is you need to be riding horses from a much earlier age. You know, going down there at the age of 16. You know, it takes a good 4 to 5 years to be able to know what you're doing.
Yeah,
trust me, it does. And so if I'd have started when I was 10, 11, riding ponies and what have you, then I'd have been well equipped for when I went into. But obviously, I was just a little kid in Liverpool, you know, little boxing in Liverpool. So I goes down here when I was 16. Well, no, tell a lie. When year before the summer holidays, you go down and see if you like it and all that. And the funny thing is, the idea that my dad had, he wasn't the only scouser who had that idea, and there was about another 5, 6 scousers in the hostel. Yeah. So it was great for me. Like, it was like home from home, you know. We made Swifty, Peter, Kevin, Vinny was from Wigan, but cracking lad. And it was just, it was amazing. I mean, people ask me about racing, and I always say, listen, if I had my life over again, and again, and again, and again, I would still go in racing. Because it was just a fucking, you're meeting people. You're a 16-year-old kid. You've come from Liverpool. All you know is Scousers. My mum and dad didn't drive. We never had holidays. One holiday was West Kirby or fucking New Brighton. Yeah. We never had holidays. So I never met anyone foreign or, so at the age of 16, I'm in horse racing. I'm meeting people from fucking all over the world. Yeah. From South Africa, blah, blah, blah. Not so much when I was at Henry Candy's, but when I moved on to Peter Walwyn's, and I worked for Peter Walwyn for a bit. And then from Peter Walwyn's, I went to John Gosden's in Newmarket. But all this time, the greatest thing that ever happened to me was the fact that they had the Stable Lads boxing. Now, at 16, say 17, I was 7 stone. There isn't really a weight class. Yeah. I think have they got live fly in the ABAs now? Probably, they've probably got live fly. But basically I wasn't heavy enough and I wasn't strong enough. It's all about maturing, so yeah. I think the good thing that come out of it, being a slow maturer, is I never suffered with spots. Yeah. Like all my mates did. I never suffered with any of that. So, but yeah, so I'm in racing, and they had this Stable Lads competition, which was just like music to my ears, wasn't it? So I entered, won it the first year, beat another Scouser called Dave Darcy, and I think Dave's living up here now, I'm not sure. So second year I won it. I think I beat a guy called Jeff Brown. Third year, I was starting to put weight on, I realised my dream was dead of becoming a jockey, because believe you me, Bill, boxing aside, to live the life as a jockey is just and riding them horses, galloping them. It's honest to God, it's you know, you can talk about all your extreme sports, from your snowboarding to your skydiving and what. Listen, horse racing's in with that. Yeah. You're riding them horses full gallop, and you got lads coming upside you, and you're going for the next few furlongs. It's just an unbelievable feeling, And it's like a machine underneath you. I remember riding a horse at Peter Warman's on the gallops, and in Lambourne, and this horse, honest to God, you just change your hands, click, click, a few little noises, and it just go up a gear. Then you just loosen your reins, it come down a gear. It was just literally like going through gears on a car. Yeah. And for an animal to react to you because of the little things you're doing with your hands and little noises you're making, it's a fantastic feeling. Something that you got to do it. Yeah. To understand it.
So it's actually experience that to feel it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's absolutely unbelievable.
So it sounds just amazing listening to it.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I envy anyone. I mean, little Franny Norton's a friend of mine. Yeah. And come to quite a few of me fights. And I haven't seen Franny or spoke to Franny in a long time, but he doesn't change. He's still a little scally scouser, you know what I mean? Franny was so small. I mean, I was small. But when we were down the Everton Red, I used to spar with him. I mean, I was about a foot taller than him. I mean, But so Franny was perfect for racing. He's just a naturally small dude, And good luck to him, He's made a good life for himself and what have you. And he was at my fight with Kieran Fallon when I boxed Billy Schwer. And he brought Kieran down,
That was a good fight, that, with Billy Schwer, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a classic. Yeah, I've got to say, it crossed my mind. Obviously, we're going to be talking about it. I mean, we're skipping over loads of stuff that we can fall back on, to be fair. But I've got to say, in all credit to Billy, I mean, on the night, I thought I'd won it. I thought I've done this. I've won this. I was so confident. I've since looked back on it a number of times, mainly people wanting to watch it and getting me to watch it with them. It was a lot closer fight than I give it credit for. A lot closer fight. And I've got to be honest, if you're listening out there, Bill, I sparred with Billy. I must have been 10 Pro 93. I'm not sure. I think probably 94, 95. I used to go down Luton, me and my trainer, and we used to spar with him. I'll never forget him catching me with a left jab. Left jab was like someone's right hand. Heavy-handed kid.
Strong kid.
And you got to remember, sparring to fighting, it's just, it's a different ball game. You've got amateur boxing, you got amateur sparring, amateur boxing. They're different. They're all different little notches above, So I don't, listen, I'd like to think I would have won the fight if I'd never sparred him. But I think the fact that I'd sparred him and I knew how hard he could punch, and just the movement and everything else, it give me an advantage. I think, it was a close fight. It was a close fight, So all credit to Billy. You do what you got to do on the night, Training generally always went well for me fights and sparring wise and that.
Was you in camps like they are today? Because it's a lot different.
No, but it's a funny thing. I was listening to a Trish Dixon story a little while ago. I can't think of the fighter he was talking to, and he sort of was saying, "I've learned my lesson. I need to keep in training." My trainer, he didn't give me. I mean, in the early days, I never had the day off. Never had the day out the gym. Yeah, I was sparring 5 days a week, and over Amsterdam Heath on a Sunday morning. Well, I was over Amsterdam Heath Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at 7 a.m. I was there, doing me run, get back to my trainer's house. He'd take me through a bit of groundwork, sit-ups and what have you. Bearing in mind, when I got to his flat in Islington, he'd weigh me. He had scales in his bedroom. He'd weigh me first thing in the morning. We'd do the run, come back, do the exercises, and you wouldn't, especially in the winter, you wouldn't have sweated much.
Yeah.
He'd weigh me again, right? Then I'd go home, I'd have half a Weetabix, half a slice of toast, half a cup of tea, go to bed for a couple of hours before the gym, come down, he'd weigh me again. He used to weigh me 4 times a day. 4 times a day. Now, I look back and I think, was that a good thing? I think it was a bit over the top myself, I think maybe weigh me in the morning and then weigh your fighter at the end of his gym session that day.
A bit obsessive, do you think?
Little bit OTT, yeah. I mean, if I was training fighters now, I'd want to know what they weighed in the morning, and I'd want to know what they weighed at the end of the gym session. Simple as that. As some fighter said, he said, fighters are liars. All we ever do is lie, when it comes to weight and everything else, Yeah. I mean, towards the end of my career, I was cheating. Yeah. I was cheating a bit, because the fights were getting further and further apart. But in the early days, when I say cheating, I was cheating, overdoing the food.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just eating a little bit, having the odd chocolate biscuit that I shouldn't be having and what have you. But he kept a tight rein. He kept a tight rein on me, my trainer, Colin Lake. He kept a really tight rein on me, And as a friend of mine always says to me when I start moaning about him, he went, Collie, when he done you more good than harm. And I went, well, you don't know what's going on in my fucking head. He drove me down a fucking twist. Some of the turnouts I had with him, Bill, over the years. Yeah. And when I retired, he ended up headbutting these 2 front teeth out. Yeah. What's all that?
He headbutted you?
Yeah.
Why was that?
Well, the story goes, it doesn't matter how many times I tell this story, it never sounds good. Yeah. But I'll tell you, yeah.
So you're training?
So at this point, I was retired.
Yeah.
Now, during my career, we'd had a few scuffles. But he'd never properly hit me. He'd always hit me with the inside of his hand, so that he didn't want to, because he wanted me to be a champion. That was the way me and Colin Lake were. It was we were like fucking joined at the hip pretty much, for all them years. Very close relationship, and I think the sad thing with Colin Lake is, he didn't have a wife and kids. He didn't have any other distraction. So unfortunately for me, he was totally focused in on me. So I didn't have any breathing room, which is not healthy for any relationship whatsoever. It isn't, is it? But, he wanted to be involved in everything. He wanted to know everything. And, and I was very... Listen, he was my guide. I went to London at the age of 21. And he was like... Well, he was everything, And so I listened to everything he said. And he taught me a lot. He did teach me a lot, we did go through... the mill together, and I was going through the mill. He was fucking enjoying himself. But getting back to the story with the teeth, we'd been to Charlie Magley's pub in can't think of the name of the road. It's near Mile End, the tube station, and we'd Colin was schizophrenic. Well, he had schiz. One of his sisters was schizophrenic, and the other one was an alcoholic.
Yeah.
As I said to the policeman afterwards, I went, he's a bit of both. But we'll get to that in a minute. Yeah, so we left Charlie Magley's pub, jumped in a cab, and I just wanted to go round the corner. I got off a little bit before the fish and chip shop. I thought, what it was, I had the belt with me. And he was like Gollum with the ring, you know, the precious.
Yeah.
Whenever the belt was around, he just turned into a complete Gollum.
Yeah.
It was the weirdest thing. So I gets out the cab, walks over the road, and I know, you know, but I paid the cab, I sorted it out, but I'd paid my bit, like. Don't know why I didn't just pay it all, to be fair, looking back on it. But it wouldn't have mattered if I had paid it all anyway.
Yeah.
He got out the cab to follow me. Well, I don't know if he's following me or following the belt. So I get over the road. I said, so what are you doing? He says, I'll come with you. I went, no. I said, Colin, then the cab was paid. I said, the cab's paid. I said, just jump in. I said, and just, you know, he's only about half a mile down the road. So he went, nah. And then the cab driver got out. So he's looking at wanting more money, and then like he's looking in his hand for the anyway. Cut a long story short, I just picks the belt up and goes to walk away, and he starts slagging me off. You fucking shit. Now we both had a bevy, you know. You know, it doesn't help, does it? You know. No. So I've gone right up to his face. I said, what are you saying to me? Anyway, crack, left hook, right round the jaw. Yeah. Crack. Yeah. Is that the way? He went bang. Then I got another one. I'm like, yeah. I said, go on. I said, I'll give you one more. Yeah. I thought I'm getting another punch, aren't I? He went, fuck off. Fucking headbutted me teeth. Yeah. Snapped the fucking pair of them. And I was you dirty bastard. Just, you know, I know. I just stepped back and I hit him with an uppercut. Lifted him off his feet. And he's landed in the road. And I don't know what time. It must have been after 12 at night. There's a place, Kingsland Road, Whiston Road. Now, my camera fell on the floor, and he's on the floor. He's like, so I'm looking at my camera, I'm looking at him, and I'm going, now a car could have come round the corner any moment, like, fuck him, get the camera. So he gets the camera, and then it peels him off the floor. Yeah. Peels him off the floor. What are we doing? All this stuff again. I went, fuck's sake. So, as I said, it was about half a mile away. So the belt fucking weighs a fair bit. So I've got the belt, so I've got to walk him home now. So I'm walking him home. So we get about, I don't know, a few hundred yards down the road. He goes, because he had a few pallets in his mouth, like, you know, front teeth and whatever. He went, me teeth. He said, I've got to get me teeth. So I get your teeth. So I couldn't be asked carrying the belt back. So I fucking hid it behind this wall. Yeah. Travis Perkins it was. Fucking hid it behind the wall on Kingsland Road in London. And walks back to the scene. And you don't realise what noise you've made, do you? No. So before you know it, there's two police cars, right, blocking off the road, jump out. He's looking in the gutter for his teeth. And the police are trying to talk to him. He's going, fuck off. Fucking fuck. So, copper says to me, he said, what's happened? I said, you've been jumped. He said, you've been mugged. I said, no, listen. I said, it's like this. I said, see him there? I said, that's my old boxing trainer. I said, he's got two sisters. One's a full-blown schizophrenic. One's a full-blown alcoholic. I said, he's a little bit of both. And there was something in the truth of me words. He just tapped me on the shoulder. He went, safe journey home, son. And then we get back to Lakey's flat. Yeah? Sitting there drinking cans of Skull. I'm babysitting him now, aren't I? Now, the crack I did him with was a good shot, you know? And there was a lot of venom in it. Just fucking, I had two left hooks. Yeah, I'm buttered it. And head buttered, the fucking teeth are gone. He kept getting up and looking at himself in the mirror. Oh, what have you done to me? Fuck, I want to hear you once, you prick. Anyway, he goes, I've told this story to a few people. Yeah. At the end of it, I go, it just doesn't sound good, that cult, does it? It doesn't sound good. But anyway, the point of it is, I never, ever, ever initiated an argument with him.
Yeah.
Never attacked him. He's attacked me fucking numerous times over the years. You know, threatened me and all that. And he's a fucking hard man as well.
Yeah.
You know, he's a fucking lunatic. So, you know, yeah, he put the fear of life in me from when he first got me. You know? I can tell you that in a minute. But anyway, he keeps getting up, looking in the mirror, looking at his face. So I'm sitting there, I'm getting pissed off now. So I said, do you want me to look like you, dear? Because I think his nose was cut on the bridge. So I fucking goes round, and I've got ale in me, so I fucking headbutted the mirror. Got a fucking little Harry Potter scar up there. As I've headbutted the mirror, he's cracked me. Again. Like a pair of gypsies. Honest to God. So as he fucking shot, I went, you bastard. I went, fuck off. And I caught him with a cracking right hook. And he's on all fours now. And he's like, oh, what are we doing? I'm like, you fucking stand, you fucking chin me. Anyway, like he had a few falls over the years. And what he used to do, he used to just hold up indoors and just wait for, you know, the swelling to go down.
Yeah.
And different things. So on this particular occasion, he done the same. So 2-3 days went by and he hadn't left the house. But where I'd caught him with that right hook, a dislodged teeth, apparently, I don't know, from his jaw or something.
Yeah.
I don't fucking know exactly. But his fucking face was swelling up. So on the 3rd day, 4th day, I said, look, I need to go to the emergency dentist on Upper Street. So we go up there. So we just say we've been in a car crash. Because we both look like we've been in a car crash. My jaw was out here. My fucking teeth are gone. So we go to the dentist. So he goes in first. And anyway, he comes back out and he went, you know, he said, they can't deal with me. He said, I've got to go to the main dentist in Whitechapel. I said, oh, okay. So I goes in and he says, what happened to you? So I've been in a car crash. He went, that's funny, the fella that was before he's been in a car crash. I went, yeah, we were in the same car crash. Anyway, does what he does with my teeth. And takes Lakey to the Whitechapel Dental Hospital. And he takes him in. Now, you got to remember, he's had 3-4 days letting it swell. Then they've kept him in overnight. They've operated on him, right? I don't know the full what happened. But by the time me and my mate Adam Spellin went to see him, it looked like he'd been hit by a fucking truck. You know, he looked like his fucking face was out here, on top of the swelling and everything else. And I'll never forget it. It always makes me chuckle, which, take it how you're going to take it. You know, the guy fucking attacked me. You know what I'm saying? I shouldn't have even been visiting him in hospital. Should have been fucked him off. But goes in the hospital, and as we were coming away, my mate Adam says to me, he goes, what the fuck? And how did you hit him with? I went, I only hit him twice, which I did. But obviously, you know, he wasn't too young at the time. He was probably in his 60s, in his mid to late 60s. But the guy was hard work. And when he'd had a few ales, you know, he'd turn. And the little schizophrenic, or the Mr. Hyde used to come out, you know, and he'd just turn into a complete fucking idiot, you know. But, you know, great trainer all the same.
Great trainer.
Great trainer.
Did he take you to the WBU?
Yeah, we
Tell us about that.
What, winning a WBU?
Yeah. You fought David Berg as well, didn't you?
David Berg.
Yeah.
David Berg fought me.
He fought you, yeah. For the title.
I was the champion. Yeah, he didn't win that fight. I mean, you know, I wasn't on the best form. I've got to be honest, you know, he caught me with a fucking straight left. Now, the real with a fucking... See, the thing is, what happened with that fight, I was meant to be fighting someone else.
Yeah.
He brought Berg in about just over a week before the fight, right? 10 days before the fight. I'd had no southpaw sparring, right? And we know the rules of a southpaw. Move to your left, right hand, left hook. But you still need the sparring, you know. So I didn't have any southpaw sparring. So they put it on us at the last minute. So I took the fight. I said, son, the worst thing they could have... See, they always say, like, you know, watch, you know, study your opponent and all that. Like, I never used to do that. Because I'd been sparring every day through all the gyms in London, from the Peacock, the Fitzroy Lodge, the Lennox Lewis gym, you name it, I sparred in it.
Yeah.
So I was used to dealing with loads of different styles. So I used to watch videos. When I did watch videos, I'd watch them and all my butterflies would start going in my stomach like you're going to the fight. So I thought, what am I put myself through this for?
Fear, yeah.
Yeah, what am I put myself through this for? Well, I'll just fucking wait till the night.
Yeah.
So anyway, so he takes the fight. And but the worst thing I'd done, I watched this, he fought this little Romanian, Eastern European, this kid. And as I said, the rule of a southpaw, you got to move to your left, you got to lead with your right. We know this. But this little fucking, whatever he was, Eastern European, he's moved to the right, and Berkey's thrown a straight left, right?
Yeah.
He's got to the outside of that straight left, and he's come over the top with a right hook. Berkey's on the floor. Dickhead me. That's my punch. That's what I'm gonna do. That's how I'm gonna fucking finish this fight.
Yeah.
I think it was the first round. I'm fucking moving to me right. And he just went, fuck off, with a straight left. Might have been the second round, to be fair, but first, second, doesn't matter. And I've got to be honest, I was fucking gone. I just walked straight onto it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Popping along to me right like the little Eastern European. I know what I'll do. I'll draw that straight left on, slip it and go bang, and it'll be all over. Fucking hell. As I went bobbing along, bang! And then there was a little wrestle went on, and I went on the floor. Now, if you'd have spoke to me after the fight, I would have swore down. I would have put me fucking wages on it that I'd been knocked down.
Yeah.
Because my head, you concussed, aren't you? Bingo. And I wasn't the same for the rest of the fight. He's 6 foot tall. As a friend of mine said, Brad, he said when I see him a few days later, Brad was a great supporter of mine. Albert Radley, big shout out to Brad. Supported me on my fights, brilliant support, and his family. He said to me, he said, Colin, he said after, I think I was still concussed for a fucking week after, to be fair. Yeah. I see Brad a few days later, 3 or 4 days later, and he went, Colin, he said after the 4th round, he said he only fought for 4 rounds. He said, and he ran for the rest. And I hadn't seen the fight back. Yeah. And I'm thinking, really? I think I'm fucking still concussed. I'm thinking, really? But anyway, I watched the fight back, and he just runs. He runs for the remainder of the fight, the 8 rounds. It's ridiculous. What I'll say about it, I'll say a few things about it. Fair play to you, and congratulations. He didn't do much with it once he won it, which is a shame. I held that title for 5.5 years. And when you opened up the boxing news, one of my most proudest things is, you look at the ratings. Yeah. I was number 1 in Great Britain for 5.5 years. Not a lot of people know that, Bill. It's a fact. You've heard it here on the Billy Moore Show. Colin Dunne was number 1 lightweight of the fucking Great Britain for 5.5 years. Anyway, I'll tell you what happened. It's an interesting story. So after the Berg fight, blah, 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 I was concussed for about a week. Cheers, thanks for that, Dave. He's a lovely lad as well. I ain't met him, but I know I've heard stories. He's a cracking lad. But he gets the nod. And listen, them judges are doing the score, round for round.
Yeah.
Now, when a decision takes more than 5 minutes to gather in the scorecards, you know, something's... You do, Bill.
Yeah.
Trust me, you watch any fight, go back on history, soon as they start fiddling, soon as they're taking... They should just take them cards straight off them. Job done.
Yeah.
Right? Right. So, back in the day, my trainer, Colin Lake, what he used to do, he used to get it, because it was matchroom. It was boxing for matchroom. What it was, I had a 40, 50, 60,000 pound 3-fight deal with Barry Inn. That was the last one. He knew. Which I should have got the decision.
Yeah.
He'd have to pay me more. 40, 50, 60. You know, done the 3-fight deal. You know. Anyway, cut a line under that. What happened was, Lakey rings up Matchroom and he asked for these videotapes of the fight, even though it was a shit fight. Sorry, Dave, it was a shit fight. I was just chasing them round for fucking 8 rounds. Apart from that, but you didn't get scored a knockdown, because it wasn't. But for me, I was gone, and then there was a little tussle went on, and I went over, but it wasn't. So that was a result for me, really.
Yeah.
If he had scored that knockdown, then yeah, Dave, you won the fight, hands down. But anyway, I guess these are VHS tapes, like, and I'd watched the fight 3 times, with the commentary, without the commentary, blah, blah, blah. So he rings me up, like, he gets these fight tapes sent from Matchroom, you know, to give out to people, you know, my mum and dad and the sponsors. Not that I had any fucking sponsors, Bill. No one sponsored me. Yeah. There was a lovely guy in Newmarket who tried to sponsor me. I can't think of his name, John. Lovely, John Buckle. Lovely man. He's not with us anymore. But I'm going off track. So anyway, I guess these videotapes. Yeah. And he rings me up, he goes, come down, watch your fight again. I said, Colin, I've watched it with the commentary. Jim Watt was a total tit. Yeah. Sorry, Jim, you'd call that fight well. Yeah. So, and he went, come down, watch your fight again. That's all this about. So goes down there, puts the tape on. Who's commentating? Dave Boy McCauley. Remember Dave?
No.
Dave Boy McCauley.
No.
World champion, Northern Irish lad. Flyweight, bantamweight. Check Dave Boy McCauley. Anyway,
I'll have to look him up.
He does commentary for Barry Inn.
Yeah.
And I was always kept in the dark with the contracts and everything else. So he says to me, which is something I learnt, and if they hadn't sent the wrong videotape to Colin Lake, I'd still be in the dark, right? So I watched the fight. Dave makes me win by 2 rounds, at least 1, because I'm the champion. So, how do you call that? Perfect. So I gets his number and I rings him up in Northern Ireland. I said, Dave's Colin Dunne. All right, Colin. I said, listen, I've just watched my fight with Dave Burke. I said, you made me win it. He said, well, I call it, I will see you, Col. I said, you did win the fight, like, by at least 1 round. I went, yeah, it was close. I'll give you that. I said, tell me something, Dave. I said, what are you doing there? Commentating on that fight? Said, you know, this is how naive I was when I was boxing. He went, didn't you know, Col? I said, your fights get sold all around the world to TV networks.
Oh, yeah.
And I went, really? He went, yeah. He went, he said, your fights get shown in Australia, New Zealand. So Barry Inn, they're clever, they're businessmen, aren't they? They know all this stuff. They don't tell us. You know, I got given an 18-page contract. I got given 3 pages of it
yeah.
on a fax. And you couldn't even, I'll tell you what, you couldn't read it. You know, on them faxes, the writing's crap in it. So I just signed it. And a mate of mine questioned it. But anyway, cut a long story short, we went through with it. I just wanted to fight. When you're training, doing weight, you know, and I was doing weight all the time. Constantly, as you said earlier about training camps. I never had training. I was constantly in a training camp, which is a good thing At the same time, you do need a break now and again. I mean, I remember my girlfriend, Tony Cox, at the time, she booked an holiday for 2 weeks to Lanzarote, I think it was. And I said, I can't go for 2 weeks. Because you got to remember, I'm with that man first thing in the morning, afternoon, and his face used to be like a honest, you think he was going to the gallows, you know, and he just, you know, if he wasn't happy with something that I was doing, he'd just be face on him. And when you're around someone as negative as that, it's not good energy, is it?
No.
And it was horrible. So I used to always try and break the ice and everything else. So anyway, I knew if I'd have said to him, I'm going away for 2 weeks, he'd have fucking hit the roof.
Yeah.
He'd have hit the roof. So yeah, I mean, I think where he had me from young, 21, I think he conditioned me. You know, he put the fear factor in me. I mean, we used to spar together. I mean, he was, I'll tell you this good story. Well, I was in horse racing, I was at John Gosden's, a good friend of mine, Dave Lowry, great guy. Big shout out to Dave. He introduced me to Colin Lake, but Colin Lake had seen me boxing in the Stable Lad Championships. I won it 3 times. I lost it 1 year to a guy called Steve Williams in the final at the Upton Hotel. And Steve would never have beat me if I'd have trained. You know, sorry Steve, no disrespect. But yeah, I'd got disillusioned I wasn't going to become a jockey, you know. And I sort of just didn't train. Basically, that's how I lost.
Yeah.
But moving on, when I got to John Gosden's, Dave Larry, great guy. He introduced me to Colin Lake. Now, when I was a kid, about 12, 13, my dad always said to me, well, I remember he said to me one time, he went, listen lad, you ever want to go in professional? I don't know if he had a crystal ball or anything, my dad. He said, you ever want to go professional, son? He went, make sure you go to London. And I went, why is that, Dad? He went, because that's where all the promoters are, right? Funny thing is, I'm in London and I ended up with John Ireland.
No, John, yeah.
Liverpool promoter.
Yeah.
Oh, fucking, you couldn't make it up, could you? But so when Dave introduced me to Colin Lake, and I knew Colin Lake was living in London, he was a Londoner. That was it. That was, you know, from what my dad had said as a kid, I just thought this is meant to be, like, you know. And when he introduced me to him, he's sitting at the bar, this pint of lager and his cigar and what have you. And Dave introduced me and all. He says, hey, we want to drink, son. I said, I'll have a Newcastle Brown. He went. Now, bearing in mind, I've only just met this man. He wasn't drunk. And he went, no, you won't. So I'm thinking, what's he on about? No, I won't. I said, I'll have a pint of beer. He went, no, you won't. I'm thinking, the fuck's going on? He went, I'll tell you what you'll have. You'll have half a lager. Or half a Guinness, whatever he said. Oh, yeah, all right, yeah. So right from the very, very beginning,
Yeah.
he was
Controlling, yeah,
if you like. But because I had this dream of going to London, and he said to me simply through the conversation, I wasn't talking with him for that long. He went, listen, son, he said, if you want to come to London, he said, I'll get you digs. He said, get you a little job. He said, and I'll train you. Simple as that, Bill. Simple as that. I went, all right, exchange numbers, no mobile phones back then. And I done no more. I went back to work at Gosden's, saved all my money up. I was only on 150 quid a week. Bought a little mini Metro van for 500 quid, proper trotter style van.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, my sister's just had a baby. I said, I'm going to go up to Liverpool for a week. He said, all right. So I said, I'll be back anyway. So true to me word, don't come up here for a week. Drove down to London. And Yeah, he took me round his mate Brad, who I mentioned earlier, Albert Radley. He's about 86, 87 now, Brad. He's a cracking fella. Supported all my fights. And originally I was going to stay with Brad, but he had a son my age. He was a little bit of a scally, so we thought that ain't going to be no good for Colin having him, wrapped around him. But I think there was more to it than that. But anyway, they took me round to where he knew Audrey. Brad knew Audrey from, back in the 60s and what have you. And she'd recently divorced. She'd recently had a bad accident. Let's call it an accident. She had 3 sons. One of the youngest son attacked the middle son with an axe. She got in the middle and her finger got chopped off. Yeah. So she'd been through quite a bit of trauma. So I was the perfect remedy for her, wasn't I? A cheeky little scouser landing on her doorstep. It was like fucking... Yeah, looking back on it, it's just, so she just took me in under her wing, done me cleaning, cooking, ironing, fucking cleaned my room. It was, honest to God, she charged me £60 a week, Bill, right? And at the time, I'd left my job in racing, so I couldn't claim benefits. And my trainer, Lakey, got me a job on for Crispin's Removals in Oxton Market. Now, if you see the land there now, where that yard was, fucking silly money, that land, Oxton. And Oxton was a shithole back then, 1991, shithole. And that's where that Lenny McLean used to be. I think that's where he was from, Oxton, Lenny McLean. He used to haunt the pubs round there. But, so you had to work for Crispin's Removals. It was on like £20 a day. And, it was great. I'd done that for about 6 months. I always managed to find the money to pay Audrey. I'd always, The great thing, the amazing thing about it, as the years went on, and like I said, I was there for 30 years. I moved out a few times, but she never ever charged me any more than 60 quid, in her house in Highbury.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Bless her, you know what I mean? And you know what? There was a time when I used to take her, she used to love fucking supermarkets. I used to see her, she was in the wheelchair and all that. It was like Little Britain, literally like Little fucking Britain. I used to fucking let her go and get something from the shelf, come back and she'd be fucking gone. She'd fucking wheel herself somewhere. But, we had some funny moments. But yes, the point I'm making, I used to give her 60 quid a week. She'd think nothing of going, Waitrose spending 30 quid on 2 steaks. She wouldn't bat an eyelid. When it come to food, she was a great cook herself. Yeah. She loved her food. But yeah, so it was all in for 60 quid. That was Audrey.
So your career up in London went well. What was your the last kind of, when you knew it was over, the boxing? What was that feeling like? Because you had how many fights? You had about 41 fights. You didn't lose many. 3, was it? 3 fights. Incredible.
Good record.
Yeah, brilliant record.
One of the best.
No draws. 23 knockouts.
26, 27.
26, 27 knockouts.
Yeah. Never got beat at York Hall.
No.
Boxed most of my fights at York Hall. Some fella brought that fact up to me a little while ago because he was writing a book about York Hall. He went, you never lost at York Hall, Col. I went, really? Didn't know that, Ray. Yeah, you win that WBU. I've got to tell you now, right? And I've got to tell you now, really, right? When I won the title against Zoltan Kalizai, right? Do you know how much I got paid for that fight, Bill?
I can imagine. Pittance.
$6,000.
$6,000.
6 effing grand to win the title. But as my trainer said at the time, listen, that's once you've got it, then you can, we didn't really got 20 grand for the first defence. Then we got 22 for the second defence. These are 12-round fights, fucking hard work.
What was your biggest purse?
Well, listen, Billy Schwer. Now, I'm living in London. If you're living in London, everyone up here thinks you're fucking minted, right? The biggest thing I had in my back pocket was Audrey Howard, because she had my back. Yeah. She wasn't a wealthy woman, but she had a big house in Highbury, and I would always have a roof over my head and food on the table. So I was able to expend, you know, and know that me digs are all right, you know, everything's covered. I've thought about this recently, but yeah, the best place was Billy Schwer, was 70 grand, which I thought was worth double that, you know. Yeah. I remember being at a boxing writers dinner with the guy that promoted it. What's his fucking name? The guy who, the man behind Lennox Lewis. I can't think of his name now. And he says to me, right, at this dinner table, he says, now we sold the place out, right, to Wembley Conference Centre. And you know, it was a great fight, and it got fight of the year. Says it all. Yeah. So you could sell that fight anyway, you know. So he says to me, I'll get his name in a minute. But he says to me at this dinner table, he says, yeah, he said, I lost money on that fight. I said, you lost money on that fight? I said, you couldn't have lost money on that fight? He said, no, I lost money on that fight. Now, I said this same thing as I'm saying to you to a number of different people. I said, I couldn't have lost money on that fight. It's fucking stupid. I said, we sold it out. Billy Schwer lives up the road, Luton. He sold a load of tickets. I sold a load of tickets. It was, you know, it was a very anticipated fight. So he went, nah, I lost money. So anyway, this fella turned around to me one day. He said, listen, Colin. He said, you got to remember, he is a businessman. So I'm like, yeah. He went, now, he would have made money. But he estimated he might have, let's just say, he estimated he would have made 100 grand. Yeah. He said, now, if he only made 60 or 70 grand, as far as he's concerned, he's lost money. And I thought, fucking hell, what a way to think. Isn't it, though? Yeah. But, I mean, as you know, I'm trying to think of his name. He's got a funny name. But yeah, he was the guy around. People know, the guy, you know. So he promoted it. Yeah, the fight was great.
So that was your biggest purse, like 70?
70 grand was the biggest purse. Yeah.
So what is it now that you do with your life? Because your boxing career's over. You come back to Liverpool. You've only recently come back, haven't you? So what is it that what happens after boxing? Did you have any did you go up, down? Did your life change any? Apart from living with Audrey and having to face the fact that
I was living with my girl at the time, and
any kids?
I've got a son. He's 23, Callum. Lives with his mum in West Derby, far from here. So don't see enough of him, but you know he's got a company he's running at the minute, and you know he's a little entrepreneur. Very proud of him. Brilliant. You know, so. He designs and makes dresses, you know, for you know, when you look on Instagram, I'm looking at the birds, I'm not looking at the fucking dresses. But now, good luck to him, you know. Yeah, I love him to bits, and don't see enough of him, you know. And
maybe that'll change.
Well, hopefully.
Yeah, maybe you're here now, and you can get to see a little bit more.
Yeah,
of him.
I mean, we had a fragmented relationship. I split up before he was born.
Yeah.
I feel like, you know, I had good reason to, but, you know, that's sort of a conversation that me and him need to have at some point in the future, you know. But, Callum O'Brien, you know, he hasn't got my surname, so, pure. But, yeah, he's a good kid. Yeah, I've had time in London with him a few times, you know.
What about going forward with your life? What's been going on?
Just started a job in Manchester. I'm a qualified electrician now. Took myself to college, done the 4 years, got all that under me belt.
No more joking and boxing.
Yeah, but you know, I can talk very passionately about the horse racing. Yeah. And you know the most peculiar thing is I've never sat on a horse since I left.
No.
It's ridiculous, but funny enough, I'm going over to America in May with a mate of mine. It's his 50th, like. We're going to Kentucky Derby. I said, Kev, I'll come over with you. I said, we'll do the Derby and all. I said, I've got to ride a fucking quarter horse. I want to, you know, the old cowboy horses. Yeah. I said, I've got to ride one. And he went, I said, yeah, all right. I said, we'll do that. I mean, he can ride himself, like, you know what I mean? So, that'll be the next time I sit on a horse. We'll be in America.
Well, so your life's pretty
settled now, sort of you're trying to ground yourself back in Liverpool.
Need to find myself a woman, Bill.
Yeah.
Need to get these teeth done, don't I? But yeah, I've been home 18 months, just over that. I was out of work for about a year. You know, I qualified as an electrician in 2012. I was working on the railway, and you know, you'd be on one job and you'd get treated with respect, and you get another job, you're just electrical mate. I did like that, so I took myself to college, got my gold card.
Well, you know what you want, and you went for it, and that's it. Yeah. But you know, when we come to the end of this podcast, but you know what I always say, Colin, before we come to the end, right? Yeah. Always say, is there any pearls of wisdom, right? Anything you'd say to a young, because you've had a hell of a story to tell there, but is there anything you'd say to a young Colin Dunne coming through the doors of life, wanting to be a boxer, wanting to be just anything? What would you say? What would the pearls of wisdom that you'd share?
It's tough, really. I mean, what would you say? I mean, you couldn't tell me anything when I was a kid. I was boxing and that was it, you know. Just have respect for your elders, you know. I can't really.
That's enough. Have respect for your elders is
just have respect and be polite. You know, it costs nothing to be polite. I love manners. Yeah. You know, one of the reasons I haven't done the black cab thing is because when people don't say please or thank you, or you know, you get some scallies in there start talking to you like a bit of shit. That just drive me. That would just drive me nuts for fucking days and weeks. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So fair play to all you black cab drivers, including you, Jay. Just have your manners, you know. Have your manners and have respect for your elders, you know. And fucking get rid of all them knives. Fucking idiots.
Brilliant.
It's all that about.
With that, thanks.
Bill, it's been a pleasure.
It has, Colin.